Hi, this is Karen Flaherty from Living by Human Design, and this is a discussion about the spleen, which is the brown triangle on the left side of your body graph. The spleen covers a number of different things in our lives, including intuition, body consciousness, our instincts, taste, survival, and fears about survival that keep us healthy. It's really an awareness center, and the spleen has the capacity to guide your life. It provides moment-to-moment feedback on your body's consciousness and what's going on. And it's really a nonverbal recognition of what's healthy and good for you or not. It is all about survival, and it's the kind of thing that will have you, if you, for example, step off the curb in the middle of traffic and see a truck coming, the spleen is what has you jump back onto the curb. It also has you get off the freeway if you all of a sudden get an instinct or, as I call it, an intuitive hit to get off the freeway, and then you notice a big accident up ahead. It's that kind of thing. It also tells you not to go down that dark alley at night or not to talk to that person anymore because they don't seem safe. It's that kind of body consciousness. It's that kind of awareness within your body that keeps you safe. And so it's also the home of survival-based fears. And there are a number of different fears. We won't get into detail about those, but both, whether you have the spleen open or defined, you'll have those fears as little gates coming off of the spleen. So the defined spleen is about 50% of the population, and you might have some of those gates colored in, the little lines that come off the chart, and those are related to fears that can be survival fears, but they're also false fears. So basically, if they are not going to kill you, if they are not going to cause you to be unsafe, then they are false fears that you can step through. And we talk more about these in a full reading, but basically these are fears that keep us from doing things that might be fearful at the beginning and can stop us sometimes, but they're really just there to keep us safe. Like, even if it's interviewing somebody new or going on an interview or something like that, those fears are there to keep us safe. They're there to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do to prepare for whatever is new. That's really what the spleen is about. Whether it's open or defined, it's all about safety. It's all about keeping us in the groove. It's about keeping us in the flow. It's about keeping us in survival mode, really. This is where we would feel the fight or flight or freeze kind of feelings that we might get when we're about to do something new. Those are all here in the spleen. And so there are 7 primary survival fears there. There are things like fear of the future, fear of the past, fear of failure, fear of death, fear of authority. All these are things that we need to be aware of as we're moving forward, and that's why they're there to keep us safe. So the spleen can only speak in the moment, so you're going to get instantaneous warnings of what's right or what might be hazardous in people or situations from the spleen. And again, I call these intuitive hits. You might call them something else. Some people call them the green light. It can be about timing. It can be about being ready to do something. It can come in a number of different ways. It does make you very intuitive, especially about survival. And with the defined spleen, you do want to trust those initial instincts because this information is reliable, but sometimes it only speaks once, so you want to pay attention. And the defined spleen also means that you have a strong immune system, so it's possible for you to overlook the first symptoms of illness, and you might be very sick before you actually realize it. Other people might notice it before you do. Also, a defined spleen will usually have a concrete sense of timing. It's almost like you have an internal clock. So the defined spleen in a healthy state is where you trust those intuitive instincts that you get or hits, that you feel good and your immune system is strong, and you don't allow your mind to override your intuition. So with the open spleen, you have a sensitive immune system, not weak, just sensitive. This means your body will give you subtle messages whenever something isn't right. So you want to listen to these subtle messages because, again, they're there to protect you and to ensure your survival. So you'll usually do better with natural remedies as opposed to pharmaceutical prescriptions, because those prescription medications might be a little too harsh for your sensitive immune system, or you might want to start at a lower dose if that's possible. So the open spleen often holds on to things that are not good for them or are no longer serving them. These can be things like friendships, jobs, lovers, grudges, or even physical things like clothing, empty boxes, those things that create clutter in the garage or the basement. This can make you vulnerable. This holding on to things can make you vulnerable to staying in relationships that are beyond what is healthy and good for you. Sometimes they might even be emotionally or physically abusive relationships. One reason for this is that we're usually attracted to the people who don't have what we have. So the open spleen is always attracted to the defined spleen. And the defined spleen is somebody who is actually quite nurturing and it's actually a feel-good energy. So that can feel very good to people with the open spleen. Now, with the open spleen, they can be quite intuitive, but they don't have consistent access to intuitive energy like the defined spleen. So you may not trust your intuition because it may present itself to you in a lot of different ways. So you might have an instinct, you might get a hit, you might have a vision, you might be hearing things, you might have intuition or intuitive hits, as I call them, in all kinds of different ways. And the thing is, with the open spleen, you can trust them all. You are intuitive, but in many different ways. It's so, like everything else that's open, it's inconsistent energy, but you can trust it. So the open spleen might struggle with a sense of time or timing. People with an open spleen are either usually hypersensitive to time or have no concept of time and can vacillate between the two behaviors, such as when you're needing to be on time for an appointment or an interview, you'll be hypersensitive to the time. When you're at a party, you might be just the opposite. So because the spleen is open, you're very sensitive to the fears in other people, and you'll take them in and amplify them. So this is the kind of thing where you want to learn to decipher which fears are actually yours and which ones belong to other people. For example, whenever I talk to clients, I ask them, if they have the open spleen, do you go to scary movies? And almost invariably the answer is no, or that I went once and that was enough. And the reason is that when a person with the open spleen goes into the movie theater and is with all those other people with the defined spleen watching the scary movie, they're taking in the fears of everybody in the theater. And then they go home with them. And going home with them is not very comfortable because usually you won't sleep well. But the people with the defined spleen, they'll be just fine. They'll go to sleep, have wonderful dreams, not be worried about that scary movie because they've been able to let go of it. The open spleen will hold on to it. So you want to be careful about the fears that you're taking in from other people. You will be sensitive to them, you will feel them, but just know that they're not yours. And so confronting your fears one by one, of course, will make you less fearful, and every fear you master makes you stronger. So just remember, the fears of the spleen are usually false fears that just need to be pushed through. So the open spleen in a healthy state is where you can sense when someone or something isn't good for you, that you pay attention to your body's subtle messages, that you pay attention to your health and address any health issues that come up, and because of this, you're very healthy, that you let go of things, in quotes, that are not healthy for you or no longer serving you, and finally, that you're respectful of other people's time. Thanks so much. See you in the next video.